Hi, I'm Laura from WholyFit, and this is Saturday Morning Stretch. We're doing Isaiah 61, and it's about the Spirit and sovereignty of the Lord, and I can't wait. So let's start at the top of the mat. Take a big, deep breath of heaven. Inhale and exhale, and we're going to step back into your overcomer. Use the full width of the mat. You notice I have hand weights handy today. And lift your arms up, keep your shoulders down. And this is Isaiah 61, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. And we just lift this workout up to the Lord today, and we ask you to heal our broken hearts and lead us in the way of your Holy Spirit. Let's go ahead and put the palms together and press and open those hips. We're keeping shoulders over hips and doing a pectoralis exercise where we're pushing the palms together. And breathe. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Let's go back to the start. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Inhale. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale. This is our rhythmic limbering portion. We're not yet into flexibility. Exhale. We're just trying to warm up our cardiovascular system with something we call posture pairs. Inhale. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Nice long exhale as you leave this knee there to open up your pose and breathe normally. Let's talk about this pose. Overcomer side. Shoulders and hips are directly over each other. This knee does not cave in. It stays where it's supposed to be, held there by muscular energy. The back leg is straight, back foot is pointed diagonally forward, and the core is engaged. There's space between your legs, and you're working in a plane. Here's my plane. Hips and shoulders and legs are all in this plane. So my whole body's in the plane. The upper body isn't in a different plane, right? The upper body is in the same plane. And let's do that exercise sequence one more time. Turn to the front, squaring the hips, leaving everything the same. Inhale, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Exhale. And breathe normally. Go ahead and take the front hand to the front thigh, and we're simply going to hinge over that forward leg, keeping a straight line from the underarm to the ankle. So we're not lifting, we're keeping this straight line. And you can lift that arm up, keeping the shoulder down. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Now let's see if we can remember this pose and add it in. So square the hips. Inhale. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Let's go back to because he has anointed me. Exhale. Inhale. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale. Exhale. And breathe normally. Let's go to our next pose. Proclaim freedom for the captives. So fist or hand in the hip or thigh area to support a curve of the spine. proclaim freedom for the captives. And you have a nice curve in the arm to remind us to curve the spine. The back is not arched, the pelvis is still tilted under as you curve that spine over the top. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. So straight spine here, exhaling, curved spine, inhale, proclaim freedom for the captives. And exhale, he has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Inhale to proclaim freedom for the captives. Again, exhale. Inhale. And let's breathe normally. Great job. To proclaim the year of the Lord's, and release from darkness for the prisoners. So the next verse is, and release from darkness for the prisoners. So now let's come down to a runner's lunge. You can turn those hips square, and you want to feel a stretch in the iliopsoas of the back leg. And you should be feeling a little bit warmed up by now. And release from darkness for the prisoners. Feeling this stretch in the iliopsoas, trying to straighten that back knee, coming down a little bit further. And go ahead and release this front knee. I bet you've been wanting to do that for a while. And lift this toe, turn it to the front. Now both toes are facing forward, hands on the thighs, and hinge forward with the weight in the toes for a forward stretch in wide angle position. Long neck, core engaged. And bend those knees. Round the back as you push off those thighs. Now we're going to come to the top of the mat and take a big deep breath of heaven. Inhale and exhale, standing in the car position. And let's start from the top. This leg towards me is going to step back into a comfortable lunge position for you, into overcomer. And open up your stance so that there's space between your legs. The knee is over the heel or behind the heel, but not in front of the heel. Back leg is at a diagonal. Let's go for it. All right, inhale, squaring those hips. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. This knee stays right there. Square the hips. Inhale. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me. Exhale. Because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And breathe normally. Adding on. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. So you have a straight line. Can you see it at this angle? I'm going to turn it a little bit so you have a better angle to see the straight line. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Jesus was sent here to bind up our broken hearts. Let's come back to the previous position and exhale. And inhale and think about what you need Jesus to mend, what part of your broken heart. Exhale. Been anointed to proclaim good news to us. Inhale. He was sent to bind up our broken hearts. Exhale. And anointed to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale. And he was sent to bind up our broken hearts. Breathe normally and proclaim freedom for the captives. This is the one with the curved spine now and the curved arm. Let's rewind. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Inhale to proclaim freedom for the captives. Exhale. I'm feeling better already. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Inhale to proclaim freedom for the captives. Let's rewind one more time. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. And let's rewind one more time. Exhale, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Inhale, come forward with a straight back to this pose. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Now inhale to the one with the curved spine to proclaim freedom for the captives. Great. I feel warmed up on this side, the same as the other side. Go ahead and breathe normally. And we're going to come into that runner's lunge to proclaim freedom for the captives. So now we're on the ball of the back foot. This leg is starting this way with the hip forward to feel the stretch. Weight borne on the thigh. And then you're working towards getting this leg straight. Just working towards that. Stretching out the iliopsoas. We'll need that stretched out for our mat work. So proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners. It's beautiful. I bet you're about ready to straighten this forward leg, yeah? So go ahead and do that. Put this back heel down. Lift this forward toe so that you can pivot it to the front. Lift this back toe, pivot it as well. Hands on thighs, weight into the balls of the feet. So we go forward into a hamstring stretch in a wide angle position. Stay right there so I can show you a different angle, please. Core is pulled in and engaged. You're only going as low as your straight back will allow. The back of the neck is pulled up. You can feel free to bend your knees a little bit because we're going to try to get the hands on the floor. So bend the knees if you need to. You can bend one knee at a time if you need to. And then the other leg. Come into that forward stretch. Bend the knees even further to come down to one hip. And these push-up handles or weights. with the high side on the outside. You can feel free to extend this top leg or keep the legs stacked. I'm gonna lift this hip up and raise the arm. This is your sit-up today. And this posture goes with to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Have a seat. Don't let this arm touch down. Bring it out to the side and try to hold yourself up with your waist muscles. Lift the hand weight over the head and curve as much as you can and stretch, pulling the core in. And the day of vengeance of our God. And that vengeance from God may be in your behalf to right the wrongs in your life or in the lives of others. Go ahead and put that weight back down on the back of the mat. Lift up on your lower legs to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Jesus came to proclaim God's favor to us. Emphasize your inhales as you hold this waist exercise. And then emphasize exhales as you use your core and oblique on this side. Pulling that core in, bringing the shoulders and head back, and the day of vengeance of our God. So putting it together to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and emphasize your inhales. And have a seat. And the day of vengeance of our God. Write to me in the comment section what you think that means. What is God telling you about that difficult verse? One more time. To proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And this is working our waist. The year of the Lord's favor. And have a seat. And the day of vengeance of our God. And then the one we all love, to comfort all who mourn. So we'll put that weight right back where it was. Separate the legs so that you have a 90-degree angle on the front leg, 90-degree angle on the back leg. And your hand weight is at the back edge of the mat. And without using your hands, you'll reach forward in a diagonal over this forward knee. It's a strength and a stretch exercise. This exercise is for hip stability, to comfort all who mourn, and to provide for those who grieve in Zion. Come up and reach for the ankle and back, pushing this hip forward to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. Go forward to comfort all who mourn and to provide for those who grieve in Zion. To bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. To comfort all who mourn We're seated over on one hip and then reach back to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. So this whole hip is off the ground, 90 degree in front, 90 degree in back. This knee is pushed back. Go forward, the oil of joy instead of mourning. Come up, and the garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. You can do that one more time, but I'm going to show you an advanced version of it. So go ahead at your own speed. You can bring this front leg in so that there's no space anymore here. Bring this back leg in so there's no space there. And then lift up onto the bones of your lower legs. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. And then do the other exercise that you already know, or you can do this one. So you're either here or here. And let's do that one more time. So here, and then here. And have a seat. And let's simply go to the other side. And high side is on this side. Gonna lift this hip up and raise the arm. And try to hold yourself up. And curve as much as you can. Lift. Emphasize exhales. Bring the shoulders and head back. And emphasize your inhales. And have a seat. and have a seat. And then the one we all love, to comfort all who mourn. So we'll put that weight right back where it was. And we'll put the bottom leg in front, top leg in back. 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle, pushing this hip forward. And no hands, except for holding on to the push-up handle. Go forward. To comfort all who mourn. And inhale and provide for those who grieve in Zion. And forward to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. Emphasize your inhales, the oil of joy instead of mourning. And forward, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And if you want to make this a little bit more advanced, you can pull the heels in of both legs and simply raise up, grabbing that back ankle. So instead of going forward now, you go up, and then when you reach back, you stay up. So let me show you. So you have the choice. You can be here and here. Here and here. A planting of the Lord for the display of His splendor. Up. And here. One more time, up. And here. Oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord for the display of His splendor. Great job today. Push this hip forward and have a seat. And let's do a final stretch. Using the push-up handles to arch the back in a forward stretch position. So you're rolling forward on your sits bones, trying to make your legs long, back arched. I'm breathing. Are you breathing? And then you can use the hand weights to grab your feet and arch the back. Arch the back, pushing the feet into the handles to help you get a big stretch in the hamstrings. Feel free to bend the knees if you need to. That's fine. And breathe. If you need more of a stretch, you can pull forward on the handles, trying to keep the back flat to put all of the stretch in the hamstrings. And also we're stretching the calves because we have our ankles flexed. Try to hold this stretched with a straight back for as long as possible. At the end, we will round the back, but not quite yet. So breathe. And ask the Lord just to heal your broken heart. There's one more way you can use these, and that's to turn them this way. And you can come forward even more and round the back. And I hope you've had a great workout today. I have. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. And in this bonus section, I'm going to show you how to go flat like a pancake. And the way you do that is to learn to roll from the back of the sits bones to the front of the sits bones. And I am using some push-up handles to do that. I'm pushing on the push-up handles to arch the back and roll forward onto the sits bones. Also, I'm activating the leg muscles. You never want to do this splits position with relaxed legs. Never, never. Always activate them to stabilize the joints. Then once you've got roll to the forward part of your sits bones, that's when you can come to the front and you're still trying to roll to the forward part of your sits bones, but you want to make sure your knees don't roll forward. You want to make sure the knees still are pointing to the back. And you can use those push-up handles to make sure you're rolling on to the front part of your sits bones. You don't want to have a rounded back. Your rounded back will put you onto your tailbone again, and you don't want to do that. You want to roll forward onto the forward part of your sits bones. And only then will you be able to come all the way to the ground. I'm going to sit here and think about this scripture. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because He has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. This is Jesus speaking. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And they will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of His splendor. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.